And so Gabriella Karen from California, whose son married my niece, and I met her 30 some odd years ago, and then we became really wonderful friends. And she came with the pattern, and we cut it out together, and this is my very special menorah.
Oh.
And it's on a swivel thing, so it can be turned around.
Wait, I want to get it. Just talk for a second so I can get you into speaker view.
Oh, my yellow candle isn't too straight.
Oh, that is amazing menorah.
That's bad. Okay, I better get something for that.
So we have a minute or two before we start.
Okay.
I don't know how to do it on my phone.
Sally, I'm going to mute you because it was a little echo. But if anyone would like to just talk about your menorah for a second, then we'll after.
Well, this one isn't so special. This is the one that the candles fit in the best. I have about 5 of them at least, menorahs. They're all different.
So was it part of your household from the very beginning, or you bought it?
No. The first one I bought on the Lower East Side when I worked down there, and my mother paid for it, but I picked it out, and it's silver. And of course you have to polish it, which I don't mind, but the candles don't fit that well. And all my other ones, the candles don't fit that well. I have a wooden one that's like a puzzle. I have many lovely menorahs. So the only funny thing about the silver one is the shamus didn't fit too well. It's sort of always tilted over. So my parents gave it to their friend who was a plumber, and he soldered it on, and it was the ugliest thing. I had to take it somewhere to get it undone.
That's great. So by the way, I am recording, so just keep that in mind. And anyone else want to share a menorah story?
Can you see that it's a fiddler that is holding up the shamus?
You got a boy.
I know.
That's sure.
That's great. Okay.
I have one.
Go ahead.
This is they sent this to me. Temple Bethel sent this to me when I was in college, and I still have it. So that's my story. That I've kept it for 30 years or something.
Well, I had the same one growing up. We had the same one growing up too.
That's so. I will say that our sisterhood sends candles now, right? No, I don't know if we're doing candles now. I think. Oh no, because there have been unfortunately incidents in dorms with candles, so we stopped doing that. But we send the next best thing: Starbucks gift certificates.
Right.
So
I think we have another 6 years worth of candles here. We have a lot of candles.
Oops.
All right. That's
This
great.
one
Yes?
is from the Jewish Museum. My cousin gave it to me for our 25th wedding anniversary. It's very beautiful. It's heavy. I think it might even be made for oil. I don't know. It's got a very deep spot in each of the places, but the candles definitely don't fit in this.
Yeah, now ours, which from the old city of Jerusalem, some of you have heard the story. It's made of Jerusalem stone. It's very, very heavy. It could never have been packed away. My mother-in-law schlepped it through Europe when she came to visit us. On the way home, she just schlepped it in her hand luggage and never let us forget it. But it's made of Jerusalem stone, very sentimental to us.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, mine are all on display on a shelf in my den. Do you leave it out?
No. We put it away during the year. There's really no place.
It's too big.
Yeah. It's dog bait. It would be like, and that would be the end of it. So this is the time, if you want to share a little menorah story, that you can hold it up and turn it around. Once we light it, it's a lot harder to do that. So if anyone else wants to, before we start, otherwise we'll go right to the lighting. Eileen, you're on the air.
I'm sorry. I had it all set up. The cat walked by and all the candles fell down. And now I'm trying again and they're falling down again. So I don't want to pick it up. But the story is that my grandmother got it as a prize, a premium for subscribing to the Forward in the 1920s. So
Wow.
it's nearly 100 years old.
Wow.
That is the story. Yeah, but
Awesome.
That's an antique. Wow.
Yes.
Yes, a genuine antique.
can you turn your computer's camera toward it a little? So
Yeah, Eileen, let's see it.
yeah. I mean, we take your word for it.
Yeah,
but-
we can,
See, they're going down again.
Oh, we heard that. There it is. Oh yeah. Oh, no
oh,
wait.
wait,
Talk.
I missed it.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Where
Okay.
did she go?
Oh yes.
Oh, nice.
Wow, beautiful.
And you've got the official Temple Bethel candles of this year. Those were our.
Yes, yes, they were from Lee's for
Right.
helping with the Hanukkah
It's
giving out stuff.
right.
I ended up with one extra candle, which never happens.
So I see we have a nice group on board here. Anyone else want to share a little bit, a little story about your menorah before we light? Because I
Yes,
don't.
Rabbi, this is just like the one from my childhood. In fact, it is the one from my childhood. It came back to me about 10 years ago, and it is about 70 years old, if not a little more.
It looks just like mine. Mine is
Except
made
it doesn't
out
have the fancy things on the end, so good for you.
Rob, can you hold it up a little bit? I just
Yep.
want to get a better view. Oh yes.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
Was
Very
that
simple.
plexiglass or what? Is plastic?
It's, no, it's a brass.
Wow.
That's wax that melted on it.
Yeah. Well, you see, the wax that melts on it is really part of the menorah. It,
I would say.
you know, it's like the wine stains on the Haggadah.
I bake it after Hanukkah every year to get the wax off.
I use
freezer.
hot water. But
After
I-
I do.
in the freezer.
The freezer?
Yeah, the wax freezes. That's what Alberto does with the candlesticks at the temple too.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Put it away with all the wax still on it, and then you have a waxy menorah next year.
So, Cantor Katie, show us yours. I mean,
I don't even know the story for this one. It's just the one that will accept. Actually, it's kind of got a little story. I'll show you.
Who's speaking? I can't see anybody.
This is
it's
this
Katie.
this menorah. Can you hear me? This menorah. I don't know. This is one that my mom had, that my family had. This is the one that she always took when she would. So I went to public school in Rutland, Vermont, you know, and my mom was always the Hanukkah mom. Like she would come in and teach and read a story and bring in a menorah and like teach Hanukkah in my classes when I was in elementary school. And this is the menorah she always would bring in because it was kind of easy to bring in, and it had, you know, it looked, you know, it had, I don't know why exactly, but so when I became the Hanukkah mom at my kids' school, when Ethan went into kindergarten in the Stanford public schools, I did the same thing, and I got the Hanukkah mom menorah.
Okay,
So,
but I didn't see it.
You know,
didn't
there are probably other Hanukkah moms and dads here. The Hanukkah mom story.
I was so stressed the first year that I went to do that. I think I made myself absolutely crazy with the responsibility of what I felt that was to go into the kindergarten. And I know that my mom and Eric and everyone was like, just be you, tell the story. It's really not a big deal. But I remembered like losing sleep and like organizing the little dreidel bags, and I wanted to have the guilt, and I wanted to tell the right story, but not a scary story. But I felt like such pressure to go in there and do right by our people. It was like, so anyway, this is my Hanukkah mom menorah.
All right.
Okay.
I've got one to share.
Okay, why don't we all mute ourselves and then unmute to talk? That way we can make sure there's no interference. Okay, so
Katie, did you make the edible dreidels when you went in?
So one thing you don't know so well about me is I don't make much for food that's edible unless it's like
It's a
salad.
craft. It's an edible craft.
Oh, maybe I
Anyone
could do
can
an edible.
So if
a
you ever
craft?
do it again, it's very easy, very fun. The kids do it at the table, and it's very fun. So those are my good Hanukkah mom memories.
That sounds like a good, I didn't know about that one and I didn't do that.
And you're in the public school, I was never stressed because they don't know anything. So whatever you say.
They don't let them eat anything now that you bring in. I mean,
you're not even going in now, but
it's tough, but
no, that's
but
such a shame.
we played dreidel. I brought my guitar. I sang. I read a story. I wrote a story to share with them. It was a good time.
That's great. Well, yeah, I did not bring a guitar, and I most definitely sang very softly.
They
They came to me for the crafts, not the singing.
would have cried from our singing.
I want to see. I do want to see what these edible dreidels are because maybe that would be something we could do at TBE.
So
I can show
I'll
you.
share,
I
I'll
made
share.
them at TBE. When the girls were one of the girls was little, I think Sasha, and for one of her classes, I made them. I mean, I
They're
had
really
the whole
fun,
class
right?
making them. I helped the whole class make them. It was fun.
It's really fun.
I used to make them, definitely.
Yeah.
There you go. And it's funny because the kids really become the rabbis in their secular classes because they have to be the Hanukkah experts. They have to know dreidels, like like I have to know how long to bake a matzah. So anyway, let's do one or two more, and then we'll do the.
I want to show my menorah.
Okay, let's hear.
So this has a story to it. It's hard to see it, but it has two pieces to it. And Viv and I got this menorah on our honeymoon in 1995 in Jerusalem. And we liked it so much, we got two of them, one for us and one for her parents. And it's made by a famous Israeli artist. I can't think of the name right now, but it's hard to see it, but it has a lot of really nice depictions of Hanukkah with the menorah in the middle and Jerusalem landscapes. Can anybody see that?
Yeah, I see the shrine of the book.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe the two pieces together means the unity of Jerusalem, like it was divided, now it's whole. So I'm thinking there might be some reasons for that, or it might just be that this is the shemesh and you have to light the candles. So this way you take it and you can light each one separately.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Those are pretty.
So it's a really nice one. It actually is small, but it weighs like 2 pounds. It's solid brass. It's really nice.
It's terrific.
So that's my story, right?
That's
Brought it
beautiful.
back on the plane from Israel.
Okay, and it wasn't as heavy as what my mother-in-law had to carry.
That's for sure.
No, was that on our trip, Bruce?
No, I got this one in 1995 on our honeymoon. Viv and I went to Israel for 4 weeks as part of a grand tour. So for a honeymoon. So we've had it now for 25 years.
Any other Israeli menorahs that you got in Israel?
Rabbi,
Aaron? Yeah. Hold on.
we have a menorah collection, and this one was from Old City, Jerusalem, and you see it actually requires oil. So it's not one we use, but we just have it in our library as a decorative piece. But I thought it was very interesting. And here is another one, similar idea of utilizing oil. And these we got on a trip to Israel many years ago.
Beautiful.
One for each of your kids. I like that. That's
Well, they each have their own, actually.
We let Mark and Elise each purchase their own, pick out their own when they were in Jerusalem in '95, I think. And now they use it in their own homes to this day.
Oh,
So-
that's beautiful. So the one you're using now?
The one we're using now is also from Israel, and we think Jeff's parents brought it back for us from one of their trips. So this is the one that we tend to use.
So is anyone using oil as opposed to candles? I mean, I've done it. We used this. Originally, we got the vials for oil. You know, this would be the year to do that. If you're ever going to do it, this is the year, because so many are making the parallels with the vaccine. You know, it's not oil, obviously, but the vials that miraculously appeared, you know, at a time many, many months before we ever thought we would have it. And we thought there was just for one dose, but it turns out not only like more than 2 doses. So it's almost Hanukkah-like in terms of the miracle that we appreciate.
You actually get 6 doses per vial.
There you go. Now, why couldn't it be 8? You know, it would have been perfect. But it's the miracle of this Hanukkah.
Yeah, I found that out. I found that out today when I got vaccinated yesterday, and they said there's 6 doses per vial.
It's,
So-
it's 6 because the world was created in 6. Creation was complete in 6 days.
There you go.
There you are.
All right. So I'm going to,
Oh, I was gonna share real quick.
oh, go. Sorry.
That's okay. I don't know how well you can see it, but we have our Hanukkah in the back. We think it's made of petrified wood, and we got it from my cousin at her wedding, and it's really beautiful. So I don't know how much you can see it. We lit it before, because we're in the middle of dinner with Hannah, so she helped us light it. She loves picking out the candles, and I was also thinking about when you guys were all talking about the Hanukkah dreidel, the chocolate dreidels, that my mom growing up every year since like I don't even know when would use the chocolate Hanukkah molds, and she would make chocolate lollipops with like the popsicle stick, not popsicle stick, you know those like little white things
Yeah.
for lollipops. So
My mom did that too.
so there were ones with dreidels and menorahs, and we would tell her how many kids in our class and in our Hebrew school class, and she would just make tons and tons of chocolate lollipops like every year. So that was like our tradition. Bring
We
it to
did-
class.
That's what we did that too. Thank you for reminding me. We should be melting it. I can still like melting all the chocolate on the stove and then pouring it all into the molds. That was
That's beautiful. So one more thing before we light. You notice, as I mentioned before, I think I have the yahrzeit light. This is my father's yahrzeit. He died the night after Hanukkah, but Hanukkah, Jewish calendar is very quirky, and certain years Hanukkah falls, it ends on the 2nd of Tevet. Some years it ends on the 3rd of Tevet. Rosh Chodesh is sometimes 1 day, sometimes 2 days. It's just very complicated. But so he didn't actually die on Hanukkah. We traditionally, it seems, every year we have 8 lights, and then the next night 1 light. But this is an unusual year in that I'm lighting all together. So at sunset, I lit the yahrzeit candle. And I want to just play, it's like literally 10 seconds of him singing, my father singing a Hanukkah song in the 1960s as part of a TV program that he was on, a faith, one of those Sunday morning programs in Boston. And he's just ending Mi Yimalel, just so you get a taste of him. Whoops, wrong song. Okay. It's another great song, but I thought I had it set. Anyway, so we're gonna light now. If we can all stay on mute, but Katie, you are here, so do you wanna lead the blessing?
Sure.
Okay. And so if everyone can light at the same time, or, as she is, I'd love to just have that, those who haven't lit yet, if you can have your menorahs in the center of your screen somehow. It's great to see people too, but menorahs come first.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh.
What a beautiful sight. So let's just look at all of our menorahs. If you can, if you can show your video, would be great. I'm just going to do a screen grab because 2020. And I'm going to do another screen grab because we got a lot of people. Maybe we should just meditate for a moment. If you hear a little noise in the background here, our dogs are destroying the kitchen. They're playing. This is all, this is about the meaning of community on this Hanukkah and unity and all of us being together, caring for one another. In all of our diversity, our different menorahs, different lights. But together, we're not just 8 lights or 9 lights. We're 28, well, we had like over 30 participants, times 8. Why don't we sing Mao Tzur together, just the first verse. Mao Tzur Yeshuati Lecha Na'el Shabeya Tikon Beit Tefilati And before we conclude, let's just look at these menorahs, these Chanukiot. And if anyone else would like to share a little story about your menorah or a prayer, a thought, a reflection for the last night of Hanukkah, here's your chance.
I think this is something we should do every year. I think this is one of those traditions we should keep. It's so nice just to see everybody's menorah, to feel the community, really you feel it, and it just feels really good right now to be all together. And we've never done this during Hanukkah, and let's keep this one.
Yeah. It's interesting because the mitzvah, in a sense, Hanukkah isn't all about mitzvot. It's really sort of mitzvah free in a sense. There aren't that many restrictions, requirements, all that. But to show it in the window is really important, unless it's dangerous. And to proclaim the public nature of the miracle is what we're supposed to do. Well, I'm using a Mac, I must say. But I think there's something to be said for showing it in these windows right now. And we'll share it, we'll put this out there for the community to see, to show our pride.
I have a story about the Hanukkah menorah.
Go ahead, Pinchas.
If we have a minute.
Yes.
Actually, I don't have it here with me, it's with my sister. We have a menorah that my mother, they were in the Holocaust, the whole family. Her parents didn't come back. And she came back to the place that they used to live, in that small village. And the house was completely ransacked because the neighbors thought, nobody will come in. So people just, allowed themselves to take whatever they want. Everything was a mess. And she was just going over the stuff. And in the backyard, in the garbage can, she found a Hanukkah menorah. Probably they didn't know what it is. They just threw it away. It's a beautiful menorah, and she of course salvaged it, and we still have it. And actually, this is the only real tangible thing that we have from our grandparents, from my mother's parents, from before the Holocaust. So we really cherish it, and actually my sister has it.
Wow, that is quite a story. There are so many stories about menorahs in the Holocaust, as well as in in other places of duress. I was going, if I had a little more time tonight, I'd rather hear you, but there's a story that I'll share in the Shabbatogram about Sharansky in the Gulag, where he has the other cellmates create a menorah for him. He describes it as a national celebration of freedom, so they all buy into it, and it's a wooden menorah, and then it's confiscated by the authorities. So again, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but he bargains with the commandant. He's in Siberia and the Gulag, and during his years of captivity, and he tries to, and then he starts a hunger strike in order to just be able to light his menorah. And he had no idea whether at that point the authorities would let him die, but he felt it was that important. And finally, but he also got wind of the fact that there was going to be sort of like a Red Cross investigation over the coming weeks. So they gave in, and the commandant produced the menorah on his desk, and Sharansky said, okay, I won't light it back in my cell, as you know, because they said it was forbidden. So why don't we light it together? And he did the blessing, and he said, all you need to do to the commandant is say Amen to my Hebrew blessing. And, the guy set up the menorah, got him 8 candles, and then he said, Sharansky in Hebrew, blessed are you, Adonai, for allowing me to rejoice on this day of Hanukkah, the holiday of our liberation, the holiday of our return to the way of our ancestors. Blessed are you, Adonai, for allowing me to light these candles. May you allow me to light the Hanukkah candles many times in your city, Jerusalem, and with my wife, Avital, and my family and friends. And then, so that he looks up at the commandant and adds, and may the day come when all our enemies who today are planning our destruction will stand before us and hear our prayers and say Amen. And then the commandant says Amen, because he's saying it in Hebrew, of course. It was just like a perfectly Sharansky moment, but also just an amazing Hanukkah moment of celebration of our freedom. So would anyone else like to share a menorah story?
I have a menorah that Julie and I are using now. This is 4th generation. This came from my grandmother, and she was born in 1900. And she always told me that her father brought this over with them from Europe, and it's from Russia, and it's all brass, very heavy. The interesting story about it now is that I've been seeing a lot of them on the internet, and we posted pictures on Facebook, and a few of my friends said, oh, I have the same menorah. And apparently this is a real antique that my grandmother handed down in the family, but now they're making knockoffs of this similar menorah, but it's very heavy.
Close this shit on the side.
What's that? It doesn't say made in Japan on the bottom, so we think it's really from Russia. But that's where it came from, and this is a real family treasure of ours. So now I get to share it with Julie, so it's really nice.
It's beautiful. And Japanese menorahs would be interesting too.
Absolutely.
Lights. They have to last for a half hour, that's all.
I have a little short story, if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely, Julie.
So it's not that the menorah is actually has a long history or anything like that, but where I grew up in Maryland, I did not have a lot of family around. So my parents' friends, who were also the founders of our synagogues, became like my family. So that's who we spent all of the holidays with. And my mom had a friend, and her name was Ethel Goldberg. I mean, you couldn't get more Jewish sounding than that. Ethel grew up on the Lower East Side, and was just all things Jewish. Like, you just went, we were at her house for every holiday. She was one of those people that for Passover had, a table that snaked into every room to fit all 50 of us. So anyway, at some point, I can't remember if it was when Jonah or Sylvie were very young, but we used to go down every December for winter break. And she was also one of those people that had a closet filled with gifts at the ready. So you'd walk in and she'd say, "Yeah, I have a gift for you." And so she gave us this menorah, and she passed away the Friday after Thanksgiving. And so this year I have a bin full of menorahs. We probably have 8 of them. But this year we have only used the menorah that Ethel gave us, and just, these things that we pass on, or these little gifts that come out of a closet or whatever, become, tokens. And I feel a really deep appreciation for her and for all of the holidays I spent with her. And I'm just trying to honor her this year by using her menorah.
What a beautiful tradition. Yeah. So
I just want to share this one. This is, and I didn't know this until Jeff just said it. We knew Emmett made this menorah, and we knew he made it. It obviously was made by a child, but I didn't know whether he made it at Carmel or the Gan, or and Jeff said he made this at Shorashim. He made this when he was at the 2 years that we had the synagogue Hebrew school. He made this menorah. And so this is a relic a little bit too. For us, but for the wonderful program that we had. And you could tell how little he was. They're very rudimentary little pictures, but we're just so happy we have it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's priceless. And Ronnie did great crafts, in that program. Wow. I think that would be the most appropriate way to conclude this. I also have to say, unfortunately, fortunately in a sense, our 7th grade has its class Brit Milah tonight, and I have to open that room up. So I'm going to need to close this room. The Moel can't wait. And anyway, this was wonderful, though. I'm so glad we could all be together all 8 nights. We did something different each night. Thanks to Lisa Gittleman-Udi for helping to orchestrate, and Cantor Katie and everyone, and Steve and Jamie, and Lisa, everyone who really made this such a special Hanukkah for all of us. Joan, did you want to say something?
What is a class Brit Milah?
It's the thing that comes before the class action suit for doing a class Brit Milah.
It's a mock.
I forgot to mention mock. Right, it's mock Brit Milah. It's part of the life cycle curriculum.
Oh, on a doll.
Just not the way.
Yes, on a doll.
Right. And baby naming. So anyway, thank you all for coming. And tomorrow night, just a little program note, Suzanne Stone will be talking about being a volunteer for the Pfizer vaccine. She was one of the many who led to this miracle of the oil. So anyway, she has a story to tell. That'll be at services. Good to see everyone. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.